How's it going, guys? D Blacktae here, bringing you guys a different video today. And today we're gonna be talking about Eden Zero. And this manga right here is something completely different from what I was expecting it to be. If you go into it thinking it's gonna be like Fairy Tail, you're gonna be wrong. So let's get into it. So Eden Zero. Hiro Mashima starts it off with, I'm not going to really talk about the series, I'm going to give more of a synopsis, talk about the characters, what I find interesting, and where I think the series is going to be going. So it starts off with the main character Shiki. In Shiki, he's born on this planet called Granbull. And these planets are basically, if you want to call them, they're like islands if you watch One Piece. You know, each one has its own different environment, civilization, different, weather climates, people, robots, etc. When you get down to it, why I really like Shiki is that it starts off with him being on a planet that is only filled with robots, and he's the only human on it. And he grows up on this planet with these robots, growing to love them, growing an attachment for them that later plays on into the series going forward. Some of the things that we see from Shiki as we go from chapter 1 to 74 shows tremendous growth on his part and the parts of the other characters that are willing to follow Shiki, right? So Shiki goes from a character that has no understanding of the outside world at all to wanting to be friends with everyone, human, robot alike, to caring about every individual citizen, to then a character that we see who doesn't necessarily care about other people. He just cares about those that are close to him. So it's a very interesting and complex situation with Shiki's character and how he grows and develops. And it reminds me of a young Luffy. Not that Luffy's old, but you know, when Luffy first started the series, he only really cared about his Nakama. And so him and Shiki, they're both very kind of careless a little bit. And they're, not careless, they're carefree. Which means that they're more likely to go for the smell of adventure, and they're likely to fall for, naive traps and things like that. But they have a really big heart, and they're very trusting characters. So Shiki, he's just very fascinating to me. Growing and seeing where he's gonna go in the series is just, it's gonna be amazing to watch. It's been amazing to watch so far. So Shiki, right? He's supposed to be the next Demon King, essentially. And what the next Demon King is, we don't even know, to be honest with you. It's just, his father was known as the Demon King. He was a robot, and he, reigned terror on the cosmos. That's kind of what I got. There's probably gonna be more fleshed out about that. So Shiki, he meets a girl named Rebecca, and they basically have YouTubers, or B-Cubers, as they call them in the manga. And she follows Shiki, through his journey, and she grows as a character as well throughout these next, 50, 60 chapters from when she's introduced. She has a lot of character development. She reminds people of Lucy from Fairy Tail, but as soon as you sit down and look at her character, she's completely different from what Lucy was. Completely different. I want to go out and say that Rebecca is probably one of my favorite female characters in the manga. How much shine she's getting, how carefree she is, and what she's willing to do to learn, and what she's willing to do for her friends and everything like that. It's just very beautiful and well written from um, Hiro Mashima, and her connection with her robot Happy. It's very beautiful to see. Again, I thought this series was going to be Fairy Tail, and I just want to state that right now. I thought this series was going to be just like Fairy Tail from the very first chapter, getting Rebecca, and then 10 chapters later, we get this girl. She looks like Urza, and it's just like, oof, like, I don't want to go down another Fairy Tail route, but it's being handled differently in a better sense, and its impact on the story is a lot better, in my opinion. It still has those core Fairy Tail things where it's like you care about your friends, you care about those important to you, and you'll do anything for them, but it's handled in such a different manner where it's like you fall in love with the characters and the story a lot better. And I'm just hoping that we continue to get that as we go further and further within the series. So as we go on, we meet more characters. You get Wise, who is a scientist, and you get monsters such as these chromophades, and these chromophades, right? They're freaking amazing. They're amazingly drawn. And so what these chromophades can do, they're like giant looking sea monsters, obviously, and they're just in the cosmos. And so they go and they take planets' time. They eat planets and they take their time, essentially. So a planet can get stuck. If they get eaten by a chromophage, they'll get stuck 1,200 years in the past. And if you're on the planet and you weren't on the planet 1,200 years in the past, you're essentially dead. So that's pretty interesting. Those chromophades are interesting. I can't wait to see more of that. Eden Zero, it really gives me these early One Piece vibes for me, right? Where you're going from island to island, and Luffy's trying to collect his Nakama. We get Zoro, and we get Usopp, we get Sanji, we get, Nami, and then he goes on to the Grand Line and whatnot, and, Chopper and Frank. I think he gets Chopper and East Blue still. I'm not really sure. I haven't gone back and rewatched early One Piece, but it reminds me of early One Piece where it gives you that smell of adventure, and you're going from all these places, just meeting people and getting a sense for the world. Eden Zero really gives me those vibes because you get all these different planets, you get all these different stories that come out, and you're also looking for Shiki's group that he wants to use to go into outer space. So I think it's kind of taking from the One Piece story in that sense, but it's nothing like it. Let's see. The chromophades really interesting, and the planet designs, the ship designs are all really unique, right? So you have a planet that's all made of technological like coding and whatnot, and it's all wrapped around, and so you can only reach it by diving and going into a virtual reality by reaching that planet, and that planet was called Digitalis, and that was a really good arc. And then you have another planet that is known as a criminal planet, and it has a giant tree on it, and it has like giant locks on it, and then you see like the lore and the backstory of the planet and why it's like that, and it's just very unique, different. You get space pirates, and the spaceship designs are just all really unique. They're all really creative. You get a different sense with each spaceship that comes out there. Like right now, they're on the ship Eden Zero, and there's other ships out there like the Urza look-alike. She has a fleet of ships out there. We see a ship that has a civilization on it called Beliogor, and that's really cool. And so I want to get into a little bit about more of the characters that we get later going on in the series, not just the main characters. Well, yeah, they are main characters as well, but these are the people that are on the Eden Zero crew. They're called witches. They're androids, and I really like the connections between the androids and humans, where each side of them, there's strife and there's anger from both sides to hate each other. And there's this group right here that doesn't really care about that. They look to the heart, and so I just really like that in those intricate details throughout what you get through the story arcs later on. So Shiki, he's destined to be the Demon King. We get Rebecca. We get Wise, who he has ether gear, which allows him to like remake and redo technology in real time to how he wants to design it and whatnot. So that's really cool. Wise is probably my favorite character in the series, just because of what he brings to the series. He brings comedy relief, but he's also a depth piece. And you could tell his relations and how he cares about the crew. Like it's just really immenseful. In that sense, we get another girl joining the crew. Her name is Homura, and she's looking for one of her masters who was on originally on Eden Zero with the original Demon King. And Homura, she is probably best girl in the manga. She's hilarious. She states everything out loud, what she's thinking. She has so much in-depth and character development as we go on throughout the manga for Shiki and the rest of everyone else, and her growing attached to them, and her eventually doing things to become stronger and whatnot for the sake of the crew while she's looking for a master. I'm not really gonna delve too deep into that because I want you guys to go read the manga, and this isn't really me going in detail about that. I just want to let you guys know that these characters and what they bring on the surface, the story kind of reminds you of Fairy Tail, but once you get into the actual manga and reading it and going about it and going on these adventures and exploring and spending more time with these characters and their interactions, which is what I really love and which really reminds me of early One Piece, and why I fell in love with early One Piece is falling in love with the crew and getting all their interactions together while they go from place to place. It's just really beautiful to see, and really beautiful to see the art in Eden Zero. It's just really different. Mashima's style is still there. He still gives you those ecchi styles and whatnot from panel to panel, but the world building from planet to planet that you go is so different and so unique. The fighting is different. The enemies and their character designs are really well done. They're really unique. They have different personalities and different tie-ins to the story that really draws you in, even from the villain side of things. Like, it's just so well handled by Hiro Mashima right now, and I just really enjoy it. So another thing I want to talk about outside of these planets and whatnot and their adventures so far is the witches that are on board Eden Zero. And we're looking for all these witches before they can go in outer space so that they can properly operate Eden Zero. So these are like basically the androids that see to the protection of Eden Zero, and each one of them has a different purpose. You have the Shield of Zero, which is called Witch. She's very unique. She's with you from about chapter 15 on. She's very interesting. She's more of like a mother figure of the group. What I've gotten from it, you get I forget, Sister Ivory. She is the medical one, I believe. Her name is Sister Ivory, or I might be getting her name wrong, but she's the medical one, and she is nothing like a nun. She's very vulgar, very hilarious, and very great to see. She's freaking hilarious. Then we get, oh man, I'm just blanking on the witches' names right now, but we get Valkyrie. I forget the other one's name, but I really loved her story on Digitalis. That arc was phenomenal. I really enjoyed it from start to finish. The other one, Valkyrie, who we She is very unique in and of herself and what she's willing to do for the group and her battle sense. She's the fighter essentially of Eden Zero. You know, you have Witch who's the shield. You have Sister Ivory who serves as, you know, the medical person. She can heal both androids and humans alike. And then we get the other girl who I'm just blanking right now. She's basically the repairer of Eden Zero. She's handled all the maintenance and hacking and whatnot to make sure they're secure and whatnot. And so meeting them through the various planets, through the various arcs, was just very interesting and really well handled. They all had their own stories tied into the arc. It wasn't just, oh, we have to find these people and they're really boring to hang out with. No, they're all very unique. They all bring their own flavor to the series, and that is what I really like from Mashima, is really fleshing them out and really handling their characters really well so far. So right now, I think we're gonna get one or two more arcs before we go into deep outer space. The world they are in right now, I believe, is called the Sakura Cosmos, and this is just basically a section of space, you know, where you live and exist. And then you have deep outer space, which is where they're trying to eventually go to find their main reason for searching. I'm gonna get into that in a little bit, but they're gonna reach a place called Dragonfall, or I believe that's what it's called, Dragonfall. And this place is guarded by dragons, and you get a little panel where it's freaking hilarious in the first chapter, where the demon king, he's like, Shiki, do you know what that is? And Shiki's like, oh, it's a shooting star. And he's like, no, it's a dragon. And then we get a panel next where it's like, oh, that's a shooting star. And it's like, oh, I'm kidding, Shiki. So there's actually dragons in outer space. That's pretty cool. I can't wait to see Dragonfall get in when we get there, because they essentially guard you from going into deep outer space, essentially. So I can't wait to get to that arc. And so the main purpose to wrap up this video, because it's getting a little long here, is that they're searching for an entity known as Mother. And Mother, she is basically the goddess of the universe. Like she created the whole thing or something like that. And if you find her, she grants you a wish. And this wish can be pretty much anything, is what it seems like. And so everyone essentially who sets out into the cosmos or outer space, they're looking for Mother, but no one really ever finds her. Even the Demon King who went out there looking for her, he did not find her. So that's pretty cool. I can't wait to meet Mother. She seems like a very interesting character to have in the manga. What else? We get a galactic force. We haven't gotten much of them yet, and I assume that's because this galactic force, they're more in outer space, and they more so operate out there to control space pirates, to make sure, you know, to control crime and whatnot out there, where it's more dangerous and more alluring, you know, more dangerous, and where there could be an impact more on civilization, because there seems like there's really strong people out there when you go deeper into space. So I can't wait to eventually get that. Again, the world building has been phenomenal for Eden Zero. If you still like those ecchi moments if you're a guy that likes those ecchi moments or those ecchi shots, you know, you get a handful of that with Eden Zero. What else you get? You get great character development from the main cast. All of them get something or another in terms of character development, and I really love that about the series so far. So go check it out. It's not like Fairy Tail. I thought it was gonna be like Fairy Tail. It is not like Fairy Tail at all. We were wrong. It's really good. It's about 70 chapters right now. I think Billy Agor is going to be the best arc in the manga going forward. for this section of the series. So let me know what you guys think down below. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.